Oh, yes. Oh, oh, yes. It is Monday. It is not 9. You know what? Don't really care. No offense, guys. I felt like recording. Let's do this. It's 8:53. Strap on your stupid. Some beer. I'm tired, not gonna lie. First day back at work. Thanks for asking. Went okay. I managed. I just gonna adjust the Instagram machine just a little. That's better. What was I saying? First day back at work since October, probably around 2nd, let's say the beginning of October. That's what I was telling people at work today when they said, I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. I'd say, yeah, since the beginning of October. Also, what does that say about the people I work with? You haven't seen me since the beginning of October, guys. Anyway, happy to be back, but tired. Watch says I walked 14.8K today, but have you guys, I don't know. My watch and my phone don't agree with each other. I know this isn't the Toronto Tech Podcast, but it's going to be for a minute. If you're watching on the video, I just got this Garmin. It's a used Garmin, but it's new to me. Because my Apple Watch, which my beloved darling Erica bought for me for our 10th anniversary, apparently timepieces, not an uncommon gift at the 10th anniversary. What was I saying? No, she didn't get it for me my 10th. How long have we been married? We got married in 2003. I think she got it for my 15th. 15th, I think, is the anniversary she got it for me from. Anyway, did I mention I'm tired? Anyway, it died. The screen smash OLED, and it was not going to be sensible to replace it. So I got this guy. I like it. I tend to want to believe that the Garmin probably knows better than the Apple because the Garmin uses GPS and my Apple doesn't. It uses cell towers. I also suspect that my Apple Watch and phone were using like a map and taking measurements, whereas my Garmin is actually plotting distance in 3 dimensions. I suspect, but I could be wrong. I don't know a lot about this stuff. Anyway, my Garmin always thinks I've walked further than my phone. As noted, it's GPS, man. I don't know. Anyway, I'm tired, and I walked somewhere between 10 and 14K today. So bear with me. Let's just drink some beer. You don't need to hear this crap. Hey, you remember I said probably going to end up just doing a Godspeed beer? Not that there's just to a Godspeed beer, but if I'm honest, I drink more Godspeed than anything else. And that's for good reason. What do we have here? Look at that very attractive label. If you're looking at the video, man, I like that label a lot. Quite different from what I've come to become used to from Godspeed. It's, I mean, it looks like an old-timey sort of post-war factory, although I noticed that there are people on the label wearing sort of what I consider very sort of, I don't know, like Asian-y hats, you know, the woven cone. It's not really a cone. It is technically, but quite flattened cone. You know the ones I mean. Picture any stereotypical image of China, Japan, Vietnam, Korea, whatever. People working in like a rice paddy and they have these hats on. You know the ones I'm talking about. And people put them on and act silly in Chinatown. Anyway, but this looks like a representation of a massive Godspeed brewery because it does have the boat logo on it. Did I mention I'm tired? I'm getting really easily distracted here. Let's drink this. This is Besuto. Besuto, I believe is how we're going to pronounce that. Besuto. This is Godspeed's take on an English best bitter. That's interesting. And I'm going to tell you why right now, because it's my show and I can do this how I want. I was listening this past week while actually on a walk to get ready for today. And every day going forward, I had to get back into physical shape. I'd missed and caught up on a couple of Ben Johnson's podcast, which is called Beer and Bull. It's a bad word. I don't want to have to bleep it out. Naughty Ben, but I do enjoy it. And actually, he was talking to Bim from Godspeed. Very good app. I recommend the podcast in general. But if you need selling on it, I would suggest the two, I think most recent, at least the two most recent interviews, which were Bim, Luc Lafontaine from Godspeed, a friend of the pod, let's say, and definitely friend of the pod. Before that, none other than Mary Beth Keefe of the Granite Brewery, also very much friend of the pod, as noted, and just both really awesome people. I know Mary Beth a little bit better than Bim, but just fantastic folks. And Mary Beth was talking about the fact that Granite's old. Like, it was started in 86, I think she said, or 87, long time ago. I mean, almost as old as me, and I'm ancient. You should see me creaking around the house in the mornings. And one of the things she was talking about is she said, there's one of the really good things about the Granite is it's a very traditional English style pub, and they make these very traditional English style beers, and they're excellent. They, pardon me, they make other stuff as well, but what they're known for are their real solid English ales, and that they're probably just never going to be hype, and they've all kind of accepted that. Like, they're not there for the hype. And she actually very specifically said, like, Godspeed, funny enough, actually makes a lot of very traditional beers too, but they have a ton of hype. And there's a host of reasons why. You don't have to pull them apart. They talked about it a bit, but she said, like, it's funny because like Bim's making like Czech lagers, and no one's like, oh, that's just an old timey beer. They're like, oh, this is a crispy boy. People don't describe best bitters as crispy boys. Funny enough. Fruity boy? That sounds like you might be being mean to it. Anyway, so she mentioned that, and then of course, hilariously, not a week later, out comes Besuto, Godspeed's English best bitter. So that's what I'm going to drink tonight. Picked up. They're doing like the I think it's the flagship case and the Czech case, and you get a bit of a discount if you buy it. And so this past weekend, the Czech case was the I've got a couple of them right here. I don't know how to speak Czech. I'm sorry. Svetli Vysipny Pivo 10. This is the light lager, real nice. Crush that like you wouldn't believe. Also the amber, which we've discussed. I think I even did on an ep not that long ago. Really nice amber lager. Of course, the unfiltered stock Czech, not the old-timey Pilsner Urquell one, because that's sold out, breaking my heart, and hopefully yours, certainly yours if you've had it. But also the Tmavi Lesak, this guy, the dark one. This is almost a porter. It's a very dark brown ale, but it's a lager. Very tasty, very, very tasty beers. And yeah, I think it's like $79.99 for the 2-4. Pretty good, if you ask me. Bang for your buck. So good, in fact, that I bought 6 extras. I got 3 of the Besuto and 3 of the Saikai, which is the Vermont style IPA. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, let's drink this. I've been going for 8 minutes and I haven't even poured it yet. Did I mention I was tired? You'd think for a tired guy, I would be trying to wrap this up a little bit more quickly. I'm just going to back away from the microphone. Oh yes, there we go. Everyone can see if you're watching. If you're just listening, believe me, this is a very attractive brown on the lighter side. It's not brown ale. It's, what do we call that? Coppery. So maybe a little coppery. Not quite as red as I would typically describe coppery as. Very dark amber. Light brown. Tawny. Anyway, it looks exactly like an English bitter should look. It is not clear, but it's only just barely not clear. It's just got the littlest bit of haze to it. Bit of a white head at it. Wasn't really trying to pour for head there. It looks, to my eye, like exactly what I would expect a best bitter to look like. So we're off to a great start. And by the way, I told you I bought 3. This is one of 3. I've not had this yet at all. This is often I've kind of had it before and I've had some time to think about it. Not so today. Today I'm doing this tired and blind isn't quite the right word, but unexperienced. So bear with me. It's brown bread. Nice. You can definitely get some English ale yeast. I'm wondering if it's going to show up a bit better on the palate. Maybe a little grassy. Yeah, let's taste it and see what happens. Yeah, that's good. Let me have one more sip. Sorry, this is a boring part, I know. That's very good. I mean, without a doubt, that is an English bitter. That is exactly what you're looking for if you want an English bitter. Yeah, so brown bread maltiness. Maybe a bit caramelly, but only just. And it's not sweet. And that's important. It's dry and it's a little tannic. The hops are coming through more sensationally as opposed to aromatically, as in I'm feeling them a bit more than I'm tasting them right now. Yeah. Maybe a little grassy and a little dry leaves, like autumnal leaves. Not a specific type of leaf, but just that aroma of fallen leaf. And quite tannic, not tea-like though. And I often go to when it's tannic like that, my brain often goes to like black tea. But I wouldn't say that with that. It's a bit mellower on the hop than that. It's quite it's not quite bitter like an IPA at all. It's very balanced, but the bitterness is quite dry and assertive, I guess is what we would describe it as, without being dominant. It's very balanced, very tasty. The yeast is what I'm really kind of working over in my brain here and my mouth, if I'm being honest. There's just a bit of almost just like apple peel to the yeast. So English ale yeasts can often, and I say can often, almost always have a real fruity quality to them. It can show up as apples, it can show up as pear-like, or sometimes just sort of generically tree fruity. But English ale yeast is not a clean fermenting yeast. It does leave characteristics behind that are characteristic of the yeast. So much so, though, that there are yeast strains that if you get used to them and you know them, you pick them out. And so too, now I don't know what Welly's house yeast is, but it's pretty unusual that I have a Wellington beer made with their house yeast that I'm not like more or less right away, oh, that's definitely a Wellington beer. I've never tried it fully blind. I have, however, done this with who I'm going to mention now, which is Amsterdam. Now, bless my soul, I have not been drinking as much Amsterdam as I ought to through this pandemic. And that is just through fault of my own. Amsterdam's really big, and I'm not as concerned for them. They're going to be fine. I love them, and I love their beers. I love Ian and Cody and all the crew. But I just, when I'm focusing on where I'm spending my money in the pandemic, it's small and it's close by. Amsterdam's going to come out of this okay. So I still enjoy their beers, but I haven't been as intentional about picking them up. But Amsterdam's house yeast, I don't want to give away any secrets, but I know what it is. And I can pick their yeast blind. I very intentionally got 3 beers that were similar in style, put them in opaque glasses, had somebody mix them up, and I tasted them, and the Amsterdam was like putting on a comfortable sweater. I could tell you a mile away. This one is not as the yeast characteristics aren't as prevalent. It almost makes me wonder if BIM aged it a little, not a lot. There's still definitely a yeast characteristic here, but aging a beer will remove some of that yeast characteristic. It gets reconsumed by the yeast. Mostly depends on the yeast. There are definitely microbiologists, if they're listening right now, who want to kill me, because yeast is more complicated than I'm making it seem. But yeah, this is just nice, brown bready, malty, leafy, kind of hoppy, assertive, dry feeling. Clean enough finish. It lingers with a bit of brown bread and a bit of that, like I say, think like apple skin almost is what I'm getting. Really nice though. I sure hope that doesn't sound unattractive to you. This is a very, very tasty beer. And as a good bitter should be, clocking it at 4.3 alcohol. So not a crazy beer. You can get through a couple of these and feel pretty good. This is a really good best bitter. It would be very interesting actually to taste it next to the Granite's Best Bitter Special. Granite, of course, uses Ringwood yeast, which is a very that actually should have been the yeast I should have mentioned right off the top. Ringwood, very distinctive taste. You can normally identify a Ringwood-based beer if you know what you're looking for. So it would be interesting. The Granite's beers do tend to carry more of their yeast characteristics as flavor components. So it'd be interesting to compare, but a very, very solid best bitter. And just fun because like, who's making best bitters these days? BIM is, and the Granite has been for coming up on 40 years, not that long from now. I guess we could say 33, isn't it? Anyway, whatever. Really nice. What do you want to eat while you're drinking this? I mean, I just want fish and chips. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I want fish and chips. If you get down to a pie, any kind of that pub food is going to work really well. A lot of nice kind of medium funk hard cheeses. Really good. Yeah. I don't think you need a lot of coaching here. This is not a complicated decision. It's an English ale. Eat some pub food with it. You're going to do just fine and dandy. If you really wanted to work out some of the oomph to it, consider having it with some sort of brown bread. Maybe do you like Branston pickle? A nice bit of brown bread toast with some cheese and Branston pickle. That'd be great. The Branston would hopefully pull out a little bit more of that yeast characteristic. Bread obviously is going to work with the beer, and that cheese is going to pair off well against the bitterness of the hops. So that'd be good. In Britain, if somebody ever offers you a cheese and pickle sandwich, typically what they're talking about is not pickles that we would consider. They would generally refer to those as gherkins. They're talking about often, if not always, Branston pickle, which is what is Branston? It's a pickle. It's like a sauce. Think of sort of like barbecue sauce with chunks of pickled vegetables in it. That maybe doesn't sound as attractive as it actually tastes, but I like it, and you should try it. You can get it in at the grocery store in the condiment aisle. It's there. Cross and Blackwell, I think, is the company that makes the one we get here, but very tasty stuff. That would be a lovely, delightful little snack. Now I'm thinking, do we have any cheese? Because we definitely have Branston pickle. Anyway, that's where we're at. Hey, now I'm gonna have a sip. Jump back, talk at you for a minute, and then I'm going to shut it down because I don't know if you knew this or not, but I'm kind of tired. Oh, but I could stay up all night drinking that, let me tell you. I wouldn't want to work tomorrow if I did that. I'd be very tired in that case. Hey, what's going on? Well, I mean, you know what's going on. It's Season 5 should be called the COVID days. There's nothing happening because everywhere's closed. And as it should be, we're really screwing this up, guys. People seem to think that like this vaccine's getting your arm before February. It's not. Unless you're a frontline worker or old, you're probably not getting it until like the summer at least. Also, it doesn't sound like they're holding second doses anymore, which means you might get the first one, but if you don't get the booster, the efficiency is like garbage. And also there's like a shelf life there. And so if you don't get the booster in enough time, you have to get them again, like both. Anyway, such a mess. Has anyone else found it really curious that a guy who's like one actual credential in our premiere, this is I'm speaking of, was as a drug dealer, and he can't deal this drug? As somebody pointed out to me when I mentioned this on social media, nobody said he was a good drug dealer. But seriously, how bad do you have to be a bad drug dealer? The stuff sells itself. It's easy. You just have to try not to get arrested. And now that doesn't even matter. Like, come on. And yeah, you can't get, anyway. Yeah, this is political now. Our premier is an idiot. You heard it first here. Except if this is the first time you've heard that, where have you been? Anyway. Nothing's happening because none of us are allowed out, as we should, because we need to protect each other and our most vulnerable populations. So don't go out. But there are still things going on. I see periodically people posting. They're doing like Zoom tastings. I think this is fantastic. I know Indy was doing like a chili thing. It might have already happened. So I'm sorry if that's old news. But this moment, look up Indy's Instagram or whatever you prefer, because they were doing, and I feel like it was a really good deal. It was like, I think $65, and you could choose veggie or meaty, and you would get 5 chilies, 5 takeout containers of chili from 5 different establishments, one of them being Indy, and then 4 others in the neighborhood. And you got some volume of Indy beer, might have been 2, 4, 6. I suspect it was an even number. But for $65, pretty good. Couple of beers and like enough chili, it sounded like, for at least 2 people. And then you could have your own little chili off. What do we do with chili in contest? Cook off? It's already been cooked, but you could taste it and see. And that would be great. I just realized I don't think my Instagram's been running this whole time. Instagram, I'm sorry. And you don't even hear that because I don't think it's on. Let me just see. I don't know what's happening here. It's great that we're doing this live, though. What am I doing? Yeah, live. Good. Go. Yeah, it looks like it's just connecting now. Well, we'll bring them in on the end. Hi, Instagram. Sorry, the podcast has been going for 22 minutes, but I didn't press go on my Instagram machine, which is my phone. I'm sorry. I was drinking Godspeed's Besuto English Best Bitter. Really nice stuff. Check this one out. You won't be sorry. And then I was talking about how nothing's happening, as it shouldn't be, because we're in a pandemic and we're not out of the woods yet. So stay in, check out if there's some online stuff going down, tastings, Indy's chili cook-off thing, whatever we're calling it. Those are all fantastic stuff. And other than that, there's not a lot to say. I felt like I had something not railing against our useless drug dealer premier to bring up, but I didn't make any notes, and I think that's going to be it. I'm zonkered, guys. So that is it. Hey, this was episode 20 of season 5. Can you believe it? I can. I've been here the whole time. I'm going to keep rolling, though. I think I might have holiday coming up, which is kind of funny when you consider that I was just off for 3 months. But I think I might have something. So normally that's when I kind of shut her down for a week or two, just chill. But we'll figure that out a little closer to the date. So you're not losing me yet. But yeah, stick around. I'm going to do another interview, I think. I like that. It gives me something to think about. I don't like doing too many because coordinating people is not my forte. But yeah, it's fun. Any suggestions? You guys want to see anybody? Talk to anybody? Who have you been missing in the industry you want to hear from? Hit me up. You'd be surprised. I can get some pretty cool people on. Just have to say. So that's it. That's what I got. Yeah, I feel like there was some... Oh, well, maybe... Yeah, probably what I was thinking in the past few days that I was going to talk about was all the bullshit in the States. Oh, I just said a bad word. I'm not even going to bleep that. I'm sorry. That's what it is. But we don't need to do that. You've all heard this. You know. Don't be a Nazi. Don't support Nazis. And if you think you're supporting a person and you think you're not a Nazi and they're a Nazi, and they're not a Nazi, but everybody else who supports them is a Nazi, you're a Nazi. It's just guilt by association. That's all I got for that. We don't need to do this. It's so close. We're so close. So close. Maybe I'll do an American beer on or near January the 20th. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Pick up something from America. That's what we got. That's what's happening. Have a great night. I hope you sleep well. I sure am. And I will be back here in a week to drink a beer. I don't know what yet. We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll be talking to somebody. Maybe I won't. It remains to be seen. I got a long week between now and then, so talk at you then. Have a great week. Take care of each other. Be safe. Keep those masks on, guys. Like I said, we're not out of the woods.